Rishi Sunak, yes, you are a person of colour, we understand, bro. But honestly, to me personally, I've met so many more white people who are in tune with what ethnic people need than him himself.
Those diss tracks, I was so into it. Like, I was loving it. Aspects of that culture of like tearing each other down can be dangerous, difficult. J. Cole actually apologised on the stage.
I like J. Cole. I don't know if that was the right thing to do, man.
You've also mentioned new album coming out.
I don't want to ruin too much, but I've done sessions with everyone. It's been like almost 3 years in the making.
Your childhood, growing up in Ladbroke Grove.
Because my mum's a single mum, because I'm black and I'm in what we call the hood, you know what I'm saying? We're in the ends. Things happen, you get swept into certain groups. So I'll be honest, music fixed it. It wasn't me, it wasn't my mum, it wasn't the government, it was music. It was the people who listened to me. That's actually who fixed my life.
You can't tell the story of UK rap without mentioning Dizzy Rascal, Wiley, Stormzy, and my guest today. Nonetheless, his music expands far beyond the genre's borders. Born and raised in a street that would provide the name for his debut record smash hit, Ladbroke Grove, he'd go on to achieve 5 platinum singles and 2 billion Spotify plays. And he did it all as an independent artist in an industry monopolised by major labels. My guest today is the microphone champ, AJ Tracey.
That's a great intro.
Yeah, all right?
It's an amazing intro, bro. Thank you.
Sometimes it's awkward, bro. Sometimes it's awkward.
Thank you, man.
How you doing?
Really good. Really well, thank you.
What have you been up to?
Just got back from Munich, mate. Hate watching.
Love that. Okay. You literally went to Munich.
Yes.
For the that was it.
No other reason. I was so sure Arsenal were losing. I said, I'm gonna make the most of this.
Yeah.
Our season's rubbish. Let me hate on yours. Pretty much.
Success.
Yeah, success.
So are Arsenal bottling it then?
Honestly, from a Spurs fan, I don't think they're bottling it. I'll be honest. Like, I don't really think that's a bottle. I'll be honest. I don't see that as a bottle.
Yeah.
They lost against a team who's got traditional Champions League DNA. They ain't been in the competition for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's not a sly dig. It's just the truth, though. Mm-hmm. They were in a rebuild process. They've come to the end of like the rebuild. They're a strong team now, but some of the mentalities in the team, they're not really there. Do you see what I'm saying?
Weak psychologically.
I think so. I think the players, like, obviously they got a great team. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for me, Saka's one of the best we have in the UK. But like the mentality of not, we're gonna try and win. It's like we are definitely winning this game. It's just not quite there. Like, I say that, and then obviously City have that mentality and still lost, to be honest. So it does happen.
Yeah, it does happen. I mean, I love, my favourite games of the season are actually the semis. I love the Champions League semi-finals.
Yeah,
so good. And this round of quarters was fucking sick as well.
It was sick, man. It was sick.
So, extra sweet because you watched Eric Dyer get man of the match?
Oh, 100%. Big up Eric, man.
Yeah?
That's my guy. Yeah. Big up Eric, bro.
And Harry as well.
And Harry as well, yeah. It would have been even sweeter if Kane scored a dagger like last minute. Oh, bro. It seems. But I'm happy with the win. I'm happy with the win.
Yeah. Oh, and so would you say Bayern Munich second team now that Harry's there?
No, honestly, not. I like BVB, man, honestly.
Yeah?
Yeah, I prefer BVB.
Who do you reckon is going to take it this year then? Champions League.
Champions League. I would love it to be BVB. That would be amazing. I don't think it will be, though. But it can be.
The draw feels like the weighting of it. Like Real and Munich and Bayern is like, I don't know. That almost feels like a final, right?
I'm happy with the 4 final teams because I feel like that's a nice set of games to watch as neutrals.
Yeah.
I feel like PSG would really want to win this. Obviously, they're about to lose Mbappe. I think they're probably the least likely to win. Then probably BVB. Then Bayern. I see it being Real Madrid. Honestly, Real Madrid probably going to win that.
Yeah. PSG, Madrid, and then Mbappe leaves. There's like you can.
Yeah.
I like Jonathan Liu in The Guardian. Right, you can almost like smell his copy. Like he's gearing up for the narratives around that one. Did Dave like tease that you did a song about Kylian Mbappe? Did that ever happen or?
It's not called. I don't know if it is called. We don't have a name for that song, but there's some sort of something that exists. Yeah,
is there
something like that? Yeah.
What's the hold up?
I don't know. Ask Dave. Yeah, I don't know, bro.
I'll have to ask him about it.
There's too much pressure on that song, bro.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know about that, bro. Listen, one day maybe not. It probably won't be called Kylian, but obviously I'm a big fan. Big up Kylian. Yeah,
big time. James Maddison as well, going to Germany. Tottenham guy. How do you feel? Like looking at the summer, looking at the Euros, you confident? What do you think about the England team?
Yeah, man, I think this might be our best England team ever. That might sound controversial. I don't think it is that controversial. I think in terms of our defence, no offence to any of the defensive players, but I think the defence might be lacking a little bit. I'm not sure about left-back position. I'm not sure about centre-back position, one of them at least. Right back and the other centre-back position is fine. You know what I'm saying? Keeper, I'm happy with. The rest of every single other position, I would say is world-class, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, honestly.
You think in contrast to like the golden generation, you think this is...
Yeah, because obviously we look back on everything with rose-tinted glasses. You do, of course. And don't get twisted. They were great players, you know. Owen, Beckham. I'm not going to go into the list. You know, we all know the list off by heart, probably. Yeah. But the realism is that we play football differently today. And these players that we have are, you know, Cole Palmer is a mad player, bro. That's a mad player. Like he
Big
has
time.
to come. He has to come to the tournament now. Like you can't leave him out. But then you bringing him. There's that. Where does he play? Because obviously we've got Saka, Foden. Like who do you move? They're all having amazing seasons.
It's like an embarrassment of riches up there, isn't it? And
No, honestly.
like Jude Bellingham as well, who looks like as a Birmingham City
Jude's
fan,
immovable.
mate.
Rice is 100 M's. Kane's maybe the best striker in the world. Ollie Watkins is maybe in the best form in striking in the world. Who do you move?
I'm actually, you say that. Previously, people say to me, how's the tournament going to go? I'd just be like, yeah, we'll lose to France in one round.
I mean, I also think we'll lose to France. but you know,
Such is life.
Yeah, such is life.
It
bro.
goes
such
on.
is life.
It goes on.
Last time when we lost to France, I knew we'd lose to France.
Really?
Yeah, I knew we'd lose to France. We have to. It's just heritage.
Mate,
You
with
have
that
to.
pen, I thought we were there.
Me watching England play France is like when I watch Tottenham play Man City, because it's like we probably should win this. Like, as in, do
you think?
City probably should win against Spurs?
Yeah.
And we probably should beat France at this point, because France's team is good, but I do think our team's better, in my honest opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, look, it might be controversial. That's my opinion.
I love the idea, like, over the course of the interview, we're going to talk about politics, we'll talk about like identity, and the most controversial thing that you've said may well be.
It might be. People are going to be like, oh, come on, AJ, you don't know ball. But I do know ball, bro. If you're watching, it's like, I do think like, bro, England have a great chance. I think they have a wicked chance. Personally, no disrespect to Southgate, I just don't think he's the correct gaffer, in my personal opinion.
Oh,
I would love
really?
to see Mourinho or Pep take over England.
Yeah.
But yeah, we need a manager who likes to play football on the front foot. Because we've got the best attacking players in the world. You can't play defensive football with Harry Kane, Cole Palmer, Jude Bellingham, Saka. It just doesn't make sense for me personally.
That's really interesting, because I think of Southgate and I think that he's given me my best memories as an England fan. Whether it's the Euro, you're shaking your head, Euros
How old
final.
are you, if you don't mind me asking, bro?
30.
I'm 32.
Okay.
So
So
we've got the same
looking
memories.
back, you're looking back to like the glory days of Fabio Capello. Or like,
Ericsson as gaffer.
yeah.
I think so, man. I don't know. I don't know.
Like, I look at like
Are you
World Cup
basing it off
semi,
are you basing it off the games that you saw, or are you
Mate.
basing it off the players and the team?
the Trippier free kick
Oh, yeah,
against
of course.
Croatia?
Yeah,
I was
of
in
course.
Hyde Park,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it is one of the best moments of my life. Like, a man threw 4 pints in the air directly above me. I
No,
was
that was
soaking
crazy.
wet
That was
for the
definitely crazy.
entire game, and I was still happy.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and obviously until it goes the way it goes. I've never. This might sound a bit corny,
Mm-hmm.
but like the connection with the team, and and it's crucial actually. I think the difference with him is it's not just about the results; it's about the culture that's associated with the team. He's changed
I
how
would
I feel
agree with
about
you on
it.
that. I'd agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. I think the culture of the club's wicked. I think the England camp, all the boys who play for their respective teams, they always look forward to going. And before, it was a little bit, from what it looked like on the outside at least, it looked a bit frosty, as in there was still the tribalism of, oh, like, I'm Spurs, you're Arsenal.
Yeah.
We might be on a team, but we're not cool like that. Now it seems like everyone's just mates, you know what I'm saying? Which is good. We need that. Because Germany's been, they're not dominating anymore, but they were dominating because they trained with the team as a German team all year round. But we wasn't doing that. We were just linking up, you know, when we're free and like, oh, okay, yeah, how you doing? Like colleagues. And the German team was like gelling. So it does feel like that. I agree with you on that. I just think the style of football needs to be a bit more front-footed. But then again, I'm spoiled. I have Ange Ball now, so I could just be spoiled, to be honest.
You're all in on Ange Ball,
Yeah, I am, honestly.
Have you met him? What's he like?
I haven't met him. No, haven't met him yet. Not yet.
I'd love that.
I think this summer we'll be meeting him, hopefully.
That'll be sick.
Yeah, man.
That'll be
hopefully.
sick. To talk about the England football team a bit more,
Yeah.
and particularly actually like what I said there about it giving me some of my strongest memories. It's one of the only times really, I think, actually, where I really feel like English.
Yeah.
Right? It's a weird thing, I think, because of like England as a country versus, I don't know, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, etc. That the time I really feel most English is when I'm watching that team.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether it's the same for you, how that sort of informs your sense of self and your sense of identity.
Yeah. I get a lot of stick for this, yeah, but I always say that I'm really, really, obviously I am English. My mum was born in England, so was my dad. My dad's heritage is from Trinidad, and my mum's half English, half Welsh. So I'm British, but I'm actually English. So I feel English every day, honestly. I agree with you though, when it's football time, I do feel extra English because obviously we're all kind of together and everyone's doing the same thing. We're all rooting for the same outcome. Unfortunately, when we lose, sometimes I feel a little bit less English being black because obviously some of the comments that fly around about players, it becomes a bit toxic, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But honestly, I think football brings everyone together in such a beautiful way. And I would have to agree with you and say, yeah, when the tournament's on, we're extra English from a regular day. On a regular day, especially in London, it's quite a cold city, you know, we don't stop and, oh, hi, how you doing? Oh, that's cool shoes. Like, we don't do that. But during the World Cup, and especially when we're doing well, it's like, oh, don't worry, bro, next beer's on me. Oh, don't worry about it. Like,
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? So I would agree with you, man. I wish that could continue like year round.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, you see stuff on the street, like people just like walking around topless or like,
No, literally.
whatever it is.
Literally.
And rather than being like, what the hell is going on?
Oh, yeah.
Where's that man's shirt? You're like, fucking yes.
Yeah. But why do I have a shirt on?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't take mine off now.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I think this is like, I'm just sort of riffing here, but I think particularly in modern society, and particularly in London, I think that communal experience, right, where everyone is talking or experiencing the same thing, it's actually really, really limited. And I think actually music is one, going to a gig, and then when the England team's playing.
Yeah.
And beyond that,
there's not much.
I don't know if there are.
Are we good at rugby these days?
Not really.
Not really.
I mean, we got to the semi-finals in the World Cup, but
yeah, but did we get there like convincingly?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not great.
Okay.
I don't know, but it's like
Cricket?
I'm not good on my cricket, man.
Olympics?
That's coming up. I think we'll do all right there.
What did I hear on TalkSport earlier that they've let one of the runners back into the team
Oh, really?
that was caught doping before or something, and it's
Well, so we're probably looking pretty good then.
But
That
apparently,
feels
yeah,
like a
but
medal.
but apparently he's our fastest runner though.
Nice.
So,
Good shit.
oh man,
I don't know how I feel about that, like the doping on the side of things, because I often sway towards being like, let them do it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see
like the
a
highest
fast
level
100
of
meter.
performance.
I want to see
ever.
you go. I want to see
Have you
you
ever
go.
seen old baseball clips of like the Yankees like hitting it like 50 miles into the
Yeah,
that was ridiculous.
I don't think it's that bad. It's, so, as long as everyone can dope,
Yeah.
I don't care that much.
I think that's how it is in bodybuilding, right? They have like clean tournaments, then they have like the ones where they just say do what you want and just go crazy. And then if everyone's on the level playing field, I'm taking the same thing you're taking, then you know what I'm saying?
Which Olympics would you rather watch, the clean one or the juiced one?
Oh, the juice. What? Of course the juice one. Imagine like, what's that? You know that frisbee toss, the frisbee just going into a next country. Just
Discus, yeah.
Discus, yeah. Just
Hurling
going
it.
forever.
Yeah.
A shot put just flying into the, well, not flying
That'd
into
be
the
sick.
crowd, but
That'd be quite dangerous.
yeah. But flying over the stadium,
Yeah, we'd have to find some mitigating factors. But it'd be quite good, I think.
Also, I will say that football before, like prime heritage Barclays football, when they were score, every team supposedly just scored screamers from 40 yards out.
Yeah.
Something a little bit fishy about how strong the players were those days, I'll be honest.
I would say so.
For sure, definitely, for sure.
The ball was like heavier then as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's like when, I'm not saying that Paul Scholes was doping, but when Paul Scholes is banging it in from 30 or 40 yards over and over again, and it doesn't really happen as much now, right?
It doesn't, but obviously they've been trained to just not do that anymore. Just don't
Yeah.
shoot in it. It's not allowed to shoot.
Too high risk.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yep.
To talk about the English identity bit a little bit more.
Yep.
I mean, you mentioned the football, but like, to you, what does being English mean? I know it's a really broad question, but
No, I like that question. It's a good question. It probably means something different to everyone,
Yeah.
honestly. When people ask me, like, they say, you know, when I go to America, I have a lot of friends in America, and they'll say, oh, obviously you're mixed race. What do you identify as? And I say, like, I'm British. Obviously, I'm British, but I'm actually English. And I say that because because my mum and dad were both born in England, and they were raised in England as English people, and I was also born in England and raised English. I'm English. Like, it's not like my family didn't come from somewhere else and come here and then build a life. And, you know, for me, I feel like very integrated into the English society. I feel like, not to say all we do is go to the pub, but I am in the pub.
Yeah.
If you ask me what my most common meals were growing up, it's like shepherd's pie, roast dinners, you know what I'm saying? That's my thing. So I'm Caribbean, I love being Caribbean, but I'm English. And at the end of the day, what it means to me is, I think England's a great country. I think as with any country, there's things we could definitely fix, address and iron out, of course. But you know, the youth in this country, to me, English youth, I feel like they're on the forefront of, you know, protesting, getting things changed, fixing the climate, coming up with cool ideas to help the less fortunate. I do think that this is one of those countries where the youth is really like supercharged.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking as an older person now. Obviously, we're 30 now, but we're going to have to accept that we're old. Yeah, we're old. But yeah, I do think that the next generation in England, man, it's bright. It's looking good, hopefully.
I want to talk about, we'll talk about that momentarily.
Yep.
I need to know what your top roast dinner is. Like, if you're putting
top roast dinner, yeah.
4 or 5 things on the plate,
cool.
what is
so,
it?
As I just told you, my family's also from Trinidad, so we're Caribbean. So there's a thing called a Caribbean roast dinner. I don't know if you know what that is.
No.
Okay,
Tell
so
me.
some people will know what that is,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
basically you mix the elements of an English roast dinner with Caribbean traditional elements. So my favorite roast dinner is roast potatoes done by my mum, because they're just, no one can beat them.
They're always the best.
Crispy and crunchy on the outside, but fluffy on the inside.
Banger.
Amazing. Goose fat, that's the trick. She
Yeah,
told me.
big time.
You shake them in the pan to make them fluffy. Secret tricks. I'm not going to spoil too much, but. And then
She's listening like, what the fuck are you doing?
I'd have obviously roast chicken, but jerk chicken
Okay.
as the roast chicken, gravy, regular gravy, sage and onion stuffing, peas. I need the Yorkshire puddings.
Yeah.
I like the big ones as well, the big Yorkshire puddings. So you can put the butter in the middle, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then
That's
mac
a pro
and
move.
cheese also.
That's American influence.
No,
no?
but in the Caribbean, we do macaroni pie rather than, so it's not like liquid. It's like a block.
Oh, it's solid.
Yeah, it's nice. It's all right, bro. It's amazing.
Love that.
Yeah, you just mix the elements in, man. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Bit of hot sauce in there, can't go wrong. See,
Banger.
people would be like hot sauce, but no, trust me.
I like hot sauce too.
Yeah, man. But that's my top roast dinner.
Let's give it a go. Okay.
I'm always the last one up from the kitchen because I'm always like making sure the butter's in between, splitting the potatoes, putting the butter. My OCD is like a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt.
You got OCD?
Yeah, I'm the last one up to the like from the kitchen. Trust me.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, don't worry about him. He's just fixing this.
It's very precise.
Very precise. Yeah, yeah.
Nice. That was a bit of a tangent. Sorry. So, that's the heavy stuff. You said something really interesting, which was that you love this country.
Yep.
You love being English.
Yep.
That doesn't mean there aren't things that we can change or get better.
100%.
And a lot of the time, right, particularly in the like really political side of things, and I get this a lot. If you're critical about the country, if you're critical of the government or any of the political parties, it's like you just don't fucking like this country, right? And I don't get this, but I'm sure people like you do, which you then hear the refrain of, you know, if you don't like it, why don't you leave? Yeah. Well,
I'd love to leave back to England where I'm from.
Ladbroke Grove.
Exactly, yeah. I'll just go back to Ladbroke Grove, leave me alone.
Exactly. But I don't find, for me, if you criticise the country, that's actually coming from a place of being like, I want this to be better.
100%.
And that's because I love where I'm from.
100%.
And I want it to improve. I don't understand why that sort of inclination for the people that do kind of like wrap themselves up in the flag and do sort of uncritically just say, you know, rule Britannia, this country's brilliant. If you don't like it, lump it or leave it, you know, sort of thing.
I applaud their tunnel vision, honestly. If they see the world, if they see the country like that, yeah, honestly, if they see it like that, I'm happy for them, honestly. I hope their life is amazing, genuinely. Because mine doesn't look like that. So that's crazy.
Good for you, bro.
I'm always amazed. Honestly, I'm quite in awe when I see people say like, I love this country. Everything about it is good. No, don't say anything bad about the country. I think, fair play, mate. If you're living that kind of life, you think that's how we live, then great. Enjoy it.
But is that willful ignorance?
Yeah, it's just, of course it is. It's just, I always separate, okay, this is going on a bit of a tangent, but I'm going to loop it back round, yeah? I've got two things to say on that. So if you liken what you just said to, if you say anything bad about the country, you don't love the country. But it actually does come from a place of love, and I agree with you on that, because if you liken it to a relationship, if you're in a relationship with someone, if something goes wrong, you have a conversation, you try to fix it. And the reason why you make those comments and try and fix things is because you care and you want to stay in a relationship. If you didn't care, you wouldn't say anything, you'd just leave. So if you don't care about the country and you don't care about what's going wrong, you just not say anything because I don't care. It's not my country. Or like, I'll just get out of here. I'll just go to Miami, go wherever. But if you're saying, no, we need to fix X, Y, Z, it's because you want to stay here and live in what you think is one of the best countries. You just want it to be a bit better. So that's one thing I say. And the second thing I say is when people say, don't say anything about the country or you don't love the country. I mean, what you're doing there is you're creating like a rift between people. So now you've said, okay, so it becomes like you've highlighted that you feel like you're more English or more British than the person that you're speaking to. And the thing is with that is I liken this also to racism, because obviously as a black man living in London, this is a very multicultural area that we're from, especially Ladbroke Grove, Notting Hill Gate, really multicultural. But I have obviously experienced some racism. So I liken it to two different types of racism. There's racism that is unintentional and there's intentional racism. Obviously one is what you're saying is wrong and you're choosing to say it. So that's ignorance and you're choosing to be ignorant. Then there's someone who's actually just uneducated and they don't understand that what they're saying has racial, connotations. And I never react the same way for both of them because it doesn't make sense. If you talk to someone who knows they're being racist, you can say whatever you want. Listen, forgive me if I deck someone for being purposely racist. But on the other hand, someone who doesn't know they're being racist, they need education. What they need is education, because otherwise what you're going to do is you have two options now. You're speaking to someone. My nan lives in Buxton. I go up there all the time. A few racist people around there. Some intentional, some unintentional. I get it sometimes when I go there, yeah? No hate to Buxton. I love Buxton, but it does happen. Basically, I've seen someone said something a bit odd and I deemed it to be a lack of education. So I just said to them, listen, that's offensive. This is why it's offensive. I prefer if you didn't say that. But then I softened it and said, I understand that you didn't say it on purpose, but I'm just letting you know for next time. And they said, oh, my bad. I'm never going to say that again. Now, what you've done is you've educated someone and you stopped them from going the left path, which is, what I thought about black people. Look, he's gone off on me or he's tried to attack me. That's what I think of black people. I'm going to double down on that. Whereas, oh no, he was really nice. He just showed me that what I said wasn't great and he was a really nice fella, and they've gone that way now and they're not going to do that anymore. So the way that you respond to things is really important. So I'm going to wrap that back around and say, people who say, oh, I love England, there's nothing, and that's a result of their lack of education and what they've been told by people around them, and they've been in this bubble. If you live in a village in the middle of nowhere in England, you might not know any better. Versus someone who lives in like Islington and you're around everyone of everything all the time and you're very versed on politics and you're educated and you're still choosing to say things like that. You're just an idiot. And that's something else. You can give them whatever reaction you deem to be within the law.
Yeah.
Deemed to be.
Always. Always. So that point about intentionality.
Yeah.
I think that's really important, right?
It is very important.
Because for the vast majority of people in this country, I think most people are genuinely like they mean well.
Yeah.
Like we can often like.
No, I agree. I'd agree.
We can often sort of poison our thinking about each other and the other people that we share the country with, right? And think, oh, so-and-so's bigoted, or like, you know, like you said, some random village, oh, they're all racist. I think that point about people who are actually intending it to be hurtful, that's a very different thing.
It's completely different, bro.
It's a very different thing. And I think it changes, particularly then when you start talking about people who are actual like political figures, right? Because they should know better, right? When you talk about...
They should, and they do, and they just say something else, which is crazy.
I think the thing that I find not perplexing, I kind of think I understand the political motives for it, but when you... Particularly actually when the current Conservative government gets that criticism, right, about racism, about racial discrimination and the way that it's governing, and I won't do a full-on Rishi Sunak impression, but like you're getting like, this is actually one of the most ethnically diverse cabinets that we've ever had, right? Rishi Sunak, Southeast Asian, James Cleverly, black, until very recently, Suella Braverman, Priti Patel.
Oh God.
It's just, you said the name, it's enough.
Nightmare fuel.
Yeah, it's bad, right? And they'll kind of go, well, actually, we have this really ethnically diverse group of people that are running the country, and you can kind of see, okay, you can say that, but when you look at the outcomes, when you look at...
That means nothing, bro. As a black person, I'm going to tell you that doesn't mean anything. Like being racially diverse doesn't mean that you're in touch or in tune with what the people from your background require or want or care about. Like, you know, some people do say to me, actually, I get it sometimes, they say, oh, well, you know, you made some money, like you're rich, like you don't know, blah, blah, blah. Bro, listen, my mum, if you ever meet my mum, she would never let me float off into that realm of being like rich and snobby and like, that's impossible, bro. It's literally impossible. When I make my political decisions on who I vote for or whatever, I don't base it off just the comments of what I see online, because I also understand of, you know, clickbaiting and, you know, saying, you know, media training and saying the right thing all the time. So I just, you go and look at what the parties want to do. You look at what their track record says, if they will do it, if they have done that in the past, etc., etc. Like for me, for example, I'll never vote for Lib Dems, because they've ruined my uni experience. Like they told me that I wasn't going to pay for uni fees and I had to go into debt because of them. They will never get my vote ever again.
Guy.
You lied to me. I'll never vote to you ever again. But I get why people might want to vote for them, you know? And I don't go out my way to say, oh, this party's bad, this party's bad. There's bad people in every party and there's probably good people in every party. I say probably, not sure if they're good conservatives. There might be. I hope there are.
Yet to find one.
Yeah, but I hope there are. You know, there probably is.
Yeah.
So for me, bro, with that whole situation as well, I do think that when they know that they're saying something that's incorrect, they know something that's probably going to cause some problems in society. You know, some of the stuff Trump was saying, he was literally causing people to go out and attack people, causing people to start rioting. That when you do this, it's very irresponsible, bro, because I'm sure if, you know, big artists in the UK, if Adele went out and said something super controversial and done like a call to arms, people probably go and do it. So, you know, you got to use your position correctly.
Absolutely. It's like, I think very often people, they use the get out of jail free, where they just say, well, it's only language, right?
Yeah.
It's only words. Words are powerful things.
Words are, in my personal opinion, the most powerful thing. I think words come before the action, and words sometimes prompt the action. I think, you know, there's a lot of things in history that have gone on. I'm not going to get too deeply political, but, you know, like the reason why World War I started, for example, there would have been a conversation at some point that led someone to do something which started World War I, which then coincidentally went on to cause World War II, etc., etc. So for me personally, bro, I think words are the most important. Obviously, I'm a lyricist, so that for me, words are heavy.
Yeah, of course.
And people think a lot of the time, oh, you know, oh, they're just rappers, they're just saying things. But sometimes, I'll be honest, I am just saying things, honestly, because it sounds good. But majority of the time, I'm thinking about what I'm saying and I'm making sure that I can live with what I am saying and it sits right within my morality.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I do think that words are powerful, bro. I'd honestly say words are more powerful than actions, bro. Because if one of my mates punched me in the face because he was drunk, or we just had a massive argument and he just lost his head a bit and punched me in the face, I can live with that.
There's forgiveness.
Even if I have a black eye, I can get my, when I feel better, we'll probably get over it. Because, you know, we fight, lads fight is what happens. But now if you tell me something else, if you say something disrespectful about my mom, my girl, something like that, we might not ever be friends again, honestly. You could say something, you know, another quick tangent, just quickly, bro.
No, man, go ahead.
I have this conversation with my missus a lot, and we talk about, you know, how unfair society is on women. and she educates me on a lot of things that I genuinely didn't know before. So I like to think that I'm learning and trying to learn and be a better man. But I also sometimes give her a little bit of education on the plights that men deal with, because it's not as highlighted. And obviously we are in a much better position than women in terms of how society treat us, but we do still face certain struggles, and I have to explain them to her, because some people think because you're facing a struggle that other people don't have a struggle, which is wrong. You know, if you're black, cool, you got struggles, but also other people have struggles. Don't dismiss anyone else's struggles. And I basically said to her one time that with men, the thing that weighs heavy on us is that we have to achieve, we have to be successful, we have to have the family on our back, you have to be strong, don't cry, make sure you get your work done. And, you know, that's what we have to do. And anything short of that is quote unquote failure. Obviously, we don't think that, but that is what society sees it as. And for me, I do see it as like, if a man doesn't get to a point where everyone's like, oh, he's successful. And success can be anything, bear in mind. Success can be if you're a little boy and you really want to be a painter, and when you get older, you're really good at painting, that's success to you. But to other people, it's like, okay, but how much do you earn? Like, where do you live? Like, what car do you drive? Do you pay for the family? Do you X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z? So I'm sorry, I'm going on a long tangent here. But I say that to say that I just like to highlight it sometimes, that men deal with these things, these pressures of being successful that end up coming out into politics, football, etc., etc., etc. Think about a gaffer of a football team. Arteta, to the regular person, is massively successful, but he's being called a bottle job. He's being called a failure. Think about it though. It's funny to us as football banter. It's funny to me as a Spurs fan, but also on a human level, it's not really that funny. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So when you delve deep into it, it gets like politically wise. Cool. Rishi Sunak, yes, you are a person of color. We understand, bro. But honestly, to me personally, I've met so many more white people who are in tune with what ethnic people need than him himself. I'm not just sitting here sending shots, but it's very easy to just send shots. But I mean, like, that's the reason why I don't take him seriously when he says things about, you know, minorities and whatnot, because, bro, you don't know anything about, your life is so far detached from what we've gone through that I can't give any merit to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, bro, I just would say that to say, wrapping around quickly back to the main point, is that words are super strong. And when you say certain things, for example, if a man says to me, you're a failure, you don't make enough money, you're a bum, or God forbid, going off and telling other people his money situation's bad, he struggles to whatever. That for me is much worse than punching me in the face. I'll be honest, bro. I'd rather take the punch in the face. Yeah. Especially from someone I care about. It means a lot more. The words are very strong.
That point you made is like, the line is like, heavy as the head that wears the crown.
Exactly.
Right? It's like it is tough up there. But I think on this point about like the politicians, oftentimes we're quite reductive in the way that we think about people's identities, right? And we'll go, well, Rishi Sunak is a person of color, and it's like, well, you're kind of overlooking the fact that, you know, he went to Winchester College, and there's a video of him as like a young man being like, I actually don't have any working class friends. You know,
hilarious.
And in many ways, like if you actually broaden the scope of the way that you think about people and their identity, that the phrase that is sort of in common parlance is the intersectionality, right? The way that they intersect with each other, those different aspects of people's character. I'm interested, you brought it up, so I'm interested in talking about like masculinity a bit with you. But like, you mentioned the kind of the stereotype of what being a man is. And you literally were like, you and I know that that's not what it is.
Yeah.
But actually, I'd be interested to hear your perspective on actually what being a good man is. Like, what does that mean to you? If it's not that.
I think the baseline sentiment of being a good man is obviously being a provider, or, you know, being someone who protects and defends people. That can be men or women, animals, whatever. Just being a protector, a defender. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's my personal take on it. Doesn't mean it has to be everyone else's. And I don't think we should be forcing people to conform to our personal ideology of what a man is. But I do think when I say a provider, I don't mean providers in monetary provider. I mean a providers in anything. Provide emotional support, provide wisdom, guidance, strength, maybe just courage. It can be anything, honestly. Like, I think of my friends who are the real men are the ones who message me and say, yo, how you doing, bro? You okay? My mate texted me the other day. When he watches, he's gonna know what I'm talking about. He texted me, he said, yo, bro, you good? And I was like, yeah, why? What's wrong? And he was like, nothing. I'm just asking if you're okay today, bro. Can't I check on my friend? And I called him to say sorry. I'm like, oh, my bad, bro. Like, you know, but you know the way we think of like checking on our friends, you know, like, and I'm an advocate of it. I always say like, check on your mates, check on your mates, check on your mates. But when it comes to actually checking on your mates, sometimes I'm like, wait, you're checking on me? What's going on? Like, what do you want, or what's going on here?
Yeah, I feel a bit funny about that. Okay, so men's mental health, huge issue, right?
Yep.
Not denying its importance, not denying it as an issue that faces men.
Yep.
But I really sometimes struggle with the whole like, ask your mate if he's okay, and then if he tells you to fuck off,
Yeah.
you still say, no, seriously, how are you, etc.
yeah.
And that's important. But for me, I think it kind of it like individualizes the problem a bit, to be quite honest with you. It makes it like, oh, your boy's bad mental health, that's actually kind of his problem and it's kind of your problem. And whilst it's important to talk about your feelings, I think it individualizes it and it overlooks things like, for example, within the context of the political conversation we're having. It's like, okay, so like, does that guy have secure housing?
Yeah.
Does that guy have a decent job? What are the economic conditions like in the country? You can't just like take him out of the system that he lives in and be like, oh man, it's really bad that you're depressed. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It's not
just. I agree with you. I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
I think I'd agree with both points. I think men's mental health is really serious. I think you should check on your mates, but I also do think that you can't individualize it and make it like oh, you should be checking on your friends. That's why he's depressed, or that's why we have so many, God forbid, but so many male suicides, because you're not checking on your friends. You can't just whittle it down to that. It's a whole plethora of things that occur within our society. And a lot of them actually genuinely are down to the government, to be honest. Because if the country, this is why I say I love England, but things could be done a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because if the system was a little bit better, it's very easy for me to say the system and just better, but I'm being vague here to not have a 2-hour conversation with you about this one topic.
Yeah.
If the system was a little bit better, men would be a bit more comfortable in not reaching the highest levels of success and still feeling like a success as a man, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, man. I think so.
To take it back to party politics, I mean, 28...
Oh, sorry, quick one. I got really bad ADHD, bro. It just popped into my head.
Go ahead.
But on that same topic, just a quick ending thing. I walk down the road sometimes and I see like a man with his baby, you know, like carrying the baby on the front or just pushing the baby around. Just the dad. And maybe he has 2 kids, 3 kids, and he's like having a nice time, giving them ice cream, whatever. And I think that's a good man. I don't know him, but I think that's a good man because I can see the traditional role that a woman is usually expected to do. You're doing it. You're happy about doing it. It looks like you're enjoying it. To me, that's what a good man is. That's a success. If you're a good dad, that's a success to me.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I totally agree. I think, you know, I don't have kids, but I think it changes people's identity massively, doesn't it? You become a parent, and I think all of a sudden, my friends who have had children, they say to me, like, your world literally changes. Like, the second you pick them up for the first time. And every decision that you make, instead of it being, how does this affect me? Or if you're really empathetic and you're really, you know, considerate of how will this affect my partner? How will this affect my mates? All of a sudden, the only thing is,
how does it affect my kid?
How does it affect them? And that changes your worldview, rightly so.
Yeah.
Okay. So party politics a little bit then. So 2018, 2019, you're sort of like breaking out within the music scene as well. Grime is like blowing up.
Yeah.
And you've also got this general election campaign, right? Jeremy Corbyn. And there's this kind of, well, it's hashtag Grime for Corbyn, right? There's this symbiotic relationship between the two. I mean, I'll actually just open it up to you and sort of invite your thoughts, right, on what happened there and what was going on and how you feel about it now. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Cool. Okay, so my government name's Che. Yeah? We're gonna start there after Che Guevara. Yeah. So my mum is very left wing. Doesn't mean that I am. I'm probably somewhere in the middle, maybe like slightly over towards the left, but I'm probably somewhere.
A little bit Lib Dem, maybe.
God forbid. I'll sooner be anything other than Lib Dem. Trust me.
For sure, man.
But maybe Green Party. I don't know. But
yeah, nice.
But anyway, so my mum just made sure that she was like, whatever happens, he's not going to be a Tory with a name like that. You know what I'm saying? So like, big up my mum because she did
nominative determinism. Yeah, there's no chance.
She did it on that.
They wouldn't let him in.
Yeah, literally. But so cool. So my idea on politics is that I do believe, for example, just some easy black and white ones. It's like I believe everyone should be voting. I think that's really important. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for in terms of. I'm not going to tell you who I think you should be voting for. I can tell you who I think is the preferred choice. I'm not going to tell you like you, because I'm AJ Tracey and you like my music, you should be voting for X, Y, Z. But I will say, go and vote. And in my opinion, I think the correct vote this time is X, Y, Z, if that makes sense.
It does.
So I try and detach it a little bit rather than saying, for me, you should go vote for whoever. Because that sways it a little bit. And also, then we're not voting for the correct reasons. Which then, I do say that. But then on the other side of it, it's like, the Tories trick us all the time into voting for them. So I don't know. But anyway, that's what
You're almost holding yourself to a higher principle, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, so I do that a lot of the time. And when I was younger, I got involved with that. I wouldn't say like, they contacted me, like Grime for Corbyn stuff, and they were like, oh, would you join our campaign, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm not going to like out and out join your campaign, but I'll definitely say some words online about how important it is to vote and tell people to go vote, wherever. In my area, obviously, Ladbroke Grove, it's KNC, and I basically, traditionally, obviously blue, because it's a very affluent area. But we did get a Labour vote at some point. I don't know exactly what year around there, but we did have our constituent was Labour at some point because obviously it's not just because of me, but all the youth in the area were kind of going to their parents and saying like, it might be time for a red vote. You know what I'm saying? So Yeah, I think it's hard, this one, because I don't really want to be the reason why people vote for a certain party. I'll be happy if being the reason why you voted. That's fine. I'll take that all day. Even if it's a choice that I don't like even if you vote for, I'm not even going to say their name, but one of those parties. But I do want to be the reason you voted. I think when it comes to politics, you got to be careful as to understanding the reason why you're telling people to do whatever choice it is as well. Because like with the Lib Dems, it's like I thought because I voted Lib Dem. That's how they got me. They actually got me. It's rough. It's rough. They got me. It's rough, bro. But I believed it. At the end of the day, I'm like, okay, so.
But you shouldn't be blamed for that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you took someone at their word.
I shouldn't be blamed for that. But then, like, come on, the history of the UK and the politics in the UK is that they're not going to do what they said they're going to do. More fool me for believing that. Honestly, I blame myself for that, because it's like, I looked at it, it sounded like a good deal. Actually, too good to be true, to be honest. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, let's go, Lib Dem, let's go. I feel like an idiot about it now, all these years later, bro.
Rolling deep with Nick Clegg.
Oh,
let's
honestly.
Go.
But yeah. But that whole movement, man, I think like, I'm in the middle with it. I'm 50-50 on it. Like, I don't completely like it, but also I understand like why people are.
It's hard, isn't it, right? You have all this influence because of something. I mean, I'm not going to say you're not political, right? But as a musician, and people look up to you, and people are interested in what you think about things. Like you said, you're a lyricist. You know, the words that you say, they are meaningful. They impact people, and actually, the best thing might almost be to sort of pull back, right, and not endorse someone, or to think very, very carefully about doing the thing. And that's actually quite a lot of responsibility in a way that I kind of hadn't really thought about it before, right?
It's a lot of responsibility if your moral compass deems it to be so.
Yes.
Because if I decide tomorrow to wake up and say, I don't give a fuck about anything any of you lot are saying, I'm not boycotting no companies, I'm going to smoke weed on my Instagram live, I'm going to encourage kids to do drugs. You couldn't tell me not to, because I built my own platform, and that's what I'm doing with my platform that I built myself. You didn't give me my platform. You can't tell me what to do with my platform. That's my honest opinion.
Yep.
But just because my morality says so, I would never do that. But I'm saying if I did do that though, there's very little you could say to me. You could say you're being a bad role model. I'd say, okay, no problem. So you make yourself famous and you go do the opposite. So it's like, it becomes a bit, you see what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah,
so it is a heavy burden. You know, some people are all the way on the right side of, I'm going to encourage kids to take drugs. Some people are all the way on the left of, I'm going to campaign for kids to, you know, put weapons down and be a better person. And some people in the middle, which is probably where I see myself, which is, if I deem it something that I think I should speak about, I'll speak about it. But I'm not going to touch on every topic in the world. But if it means something to me and if it feels like it needs my attention, I'll do so. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
We'll come to the independent side of things, because actually I think that puts you in a relatively unique place.
It
right?
definitely
that
does.
You actually have the freedom. You can choose.
Yes, there's no mouthpiece. I say whatever I want, honestly.
Exactly. You jogged my memory when you mentioned Instagram Live, because I remember. Do you remember when the sort of the far right were mobilising in like Parliament Square? Yeah, I mean, drunkenly stumbling after six Stellas at like 1 PM. Right, and I remember
you're talking about when they were at
defending Churchill,
the statue of Churchill. Yeah.
And I remember Akala on Instagram Live talking about it, and it was really interesting watching him, because obviously, like, Natives, incredible book, right? Tons of people have read it, and he is now genuinely like a thought leader, a public intellectual, like a community leader, right? So people are looking up to him, like messaging him what do we do. So he goes on Instagram Live and he talks about it, and he's talking about like tactically, because people are saying, you know, should we go and like beat these guys up, yada yada yada, and he's saying, don't do it. Don't do it. You're playing into their hands, because you guarantee, if, you know, let's say there's 2,000 like far right thugs in Parliament Square, and the second that one black kid jumps one of those guys, the Daily Mail front page is not about the far right. It's about that one assault, right? Of course. And it was really interesting, because I sort of been thinking about, I know he talks obviously a lot about racial justice, he talks a lot about politics, but actually like shouldering the responsibility and saying, no, I am actually going to talk about this thing, and I'm going to talk about it in a responsible way, because obviously like the impulsive reaction is almost going, yeah, fuck those guys, like you want to go and deal with them.
Fair play to him, honestly.
Yeah.
Fair play to him. Very intellectual speaker, very intellectual person, nice person, also very good at music.
Big time.
Very talented guy.
Fire in the booth,
Yeah, I applaud him for that, man. As I say, everyone's different. Like, that's not my kettle of fish, but more life to him doing that, because that's actually a very hard position to be in. Because obviously, like, bro, for me, the way I see this whole topic is like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, honestly. Because, you know, you speak up about something and people are like, why are you talking about this? Like, make music. I don't want to hear this from you. And then you don't say anything. Why aren't you saying anything? Look how big your platform is. Why aren't you saying something about it? So no matter what, you're going to get backlash. And it's less about, you shouldn't sit at home. This is my advice to any artist listening here who's like on their way up. You know what I'm saying? I would say, if you feel strongly about something, talk about it. because that's your morality. That's you as a human. When you're not doing music anymore, you got to live with the choices you made. So if you think you should speak about something, speak about it. If you don't think you should, or you're not educated enough, either go and educate yourself on a topic and then speak about it, or just don't speak about it. It's up to you. But I would never jump out and say something on a topic that I have no knowledge of, because that's probably the worst thing you can do. The very worst. That's even worse than being educated and just telling someone do the wrong thing. Like giving like misinformation is probably the worst thing ever. So yeah, man, tough situation to be in. And with that situation that happened there, defending the Churchill, so it's a tough one, bro. For me, this is a tough one because in school I loved history. Yeah, I love history. Even like in my spare time, I just read random things about history. I just love it. I love British history. I love British medicine. I love wartime history. I love American history. I love everything. So for me, it's like Churchill, it was that guy for us, and he done a lot for the country. So I do understand on a base level why people would be in uproar about anything to disrespect or hurt. I get that. I can understand that. We can meet on a level on that. Now, the thing is, those people on that side don't want to meet me on the level of, can you also acknowledge that some of the morals that the country stood for at the time, some of the things he himself said and stood for, wouldn't translate today, and it doesn't make sense with this beautiful country we have today. Yep. And this beautiful, a group of people that we have, this mix of people we have in the country, you're making certain people feel uncomfortable. And the thing is as well, when you stand up for racism, or even if it's on a small level, bro, if you stand up for racism in any form, what happens is you're segregating people and you're creating sects of people that now don't want to interact with each other. You're isolating people. When some not to get super deep, bro, but when they ask some terrorists, when they arrest some terrorists and they talk to them and really delve into their background, they say, I don't feel like I'm part of the country. I was never part of the UK. You didn't accept me. You didn't want me here. So that's why I chose to go the way I went. And if you integrated them properly, we wouldn't have as many problems as that. Some of the kids on the street carrying a knife and, being unruly and swearing at police and causing problems, they don't feel part of society. They feel like you've excluded them. There's no youth club for them because you've closed all the youth clubs down. That's the direct shot of the Tories, because they're crazy for that. My mum's a youth worker. That's one of the worst things I've ever heard. Closing down, cutting the budget for youth work, that's got to be like the last place you go to, honestly, bro. But anyway, those kids, they feel, disjointed from society. You left them out. They've gone and taken this path. So for me, meshing everyone together is really the solution, honestly. Wrap that back around to football, which is why I love football, because it brings everyone together, though.
Yeah.
And man, I think more life to Akala doing that job, because that's a serious level. There's so much scrutiny. As soon as you put yourself as one of these guys, like the scrutiny is crazy. So yeah, fair play to him, man.
Yeah, let's talk about that alienation a little bit. And I'm conscious you mentioned about being a young kid, whether it's like going out with a knife, but and sort of lack of youth funding, those things. I just would like to use that to invite you to talk about your childhood growing up in Ladbroke Grove. I mean, is that alienation something that you can see in your past that you recognise?
Yes and no. Okay. Mine was a little bit different. I grew up in a single parent household with my little brother, my younger brother, and a very close knit group of friends. I think at school I was never a bad kid. I went to Holland Park School in Notting Hill. I was never a bad kid. I was mischievous. I have ADHD, so now I know obviously that I had ADHD, but at the time people wasn't believing in ADHD. Yeah. They didn't believe in anything.
They just think you're trouble, right?
Yeah, they literally just think you're trouble. So I couldn't concentrate for more than 20 minutes, which resulted in me, throwing pencils, leaning on my chair, making jokes. But I never hurt people or robbed anyone. I was just being mischievous. So I got in a lot of trouble for being mischievous because my levels of mischief were quite high, to be fair. Throwing fireworks at teachers and stuff like that. It just got
I think that's mischievous.
Yeah. It's pretty. In fact, that's probably bad, to be honest. I'll probably put that one in the bad category. But I got a little bit out of hand. But the point is that at home, my mum, she was a very loving mum. She done everything to instill confidence in me and teach me that. As I said, she's Welsh, English, she's British, so she taught me, British morals. Very easy for me to assimilate into the UK culture because my mum is white British and she taught me how to be a British person. I think outside the house, because we didn't have that much money outside the house, obviously the situation I felt like as a man, we're going to loop all these things into each other now. As a man, I felt the responsibility, my mum's on her own. My little brother's not old enough to make no money. It really has to be me. I got to go make something happen because, we need new school uniform. My mum can't afford it. The school, everyone at school is thinking that my mum's not a good parent because she can't afford, but it's not her fault because she actually can't afford the clothes. She works all day. She comes home at 9 o'clock. Sometimes we're home on our own because she's working so hard. That's not her fault. She's trying her best. But that feels like my fault now because I'm a man now. Surely I can make some money to help. Obviously, I can't get a job, so I go sell some drugs, whatever. I'm going to super incriminate myself, but I go do whatever I needed to do. And anyone who knows me can honestly vouch for this, yeah? I did whatever I had to do to a point where I didn't have to do anymore, and I stopped doing it. And that was it. I didn't do it for fun or for glamour, to glorify it, to be cool, nothing like that. My little brother needed a new school uniform. We needed clothes sometimes. I didn't want my mum to bear the whole brunt of, I'm not going to go too much into her business, but, you know, the rent and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so because of all of that, my pathway, luckily for me, I consider myself quite highly educated. You know what I'm saying? I go out my way to educate myself and everything. My mum's super intelligent. She always made sure that we knew what we were talking about and had a good set of base morals to go out with. But still, even with all of that, it's like, because my mum's a single mum, because I'm black and I'm in the what we call the hood, you know what I'm saying? We're in the ends. Things happen. You get swept into certain groups. And luckily for me, I've been arrested a few times, but nothing that serious. And after the first couple of arrests, my mum was like, please, like, what's going on here? I don't know what's going on, but we got to fix this now. And we fixed it. I'll be honest, music fixed it. It wasn't me, it wasn't my mum, it wasn't the government, it was music. It was the people who listened to me. That's actually who fixed my life. So yeah, I would say my childhood, it was, God bless my mum, best mum ever. She never done anything wrong. All the faults, everything that kind of went wrong was a combination of societal pressures and me, myself, just choosing to make immature decisions, to be honest.
There's two things I want to ask you about there. The first, which is kind of a quicker one, is I'd like you to talk about how old you were when you made that decision, because I imagine you're a teenager, right? That's a young time.
When I decided to go wayward, all my friends had less without indicting anyone or doing any crazy stuff.
We'll keep it ambiguous.
Yeah. But basically, all my friends by the age of like 14, I would say.
That's a very young age to make that decision.
The craziest thing is that I knew you'd say that, and for me, that's actually not that. That's kind of old to be getting into it. Like honestly, because kids in the end start at like 11. So at 14, all my friends are already knees deep in whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
Albeit on a small level. But what happened is they kept trying to encourage me and saying, look, you know, we're all in the same boat. Their mum's going through it, my mum's going through it, and they can see what I'm dealing with, and they're saying, bro, can't make some money, you know what I'm saying? And that wasn't from a place of like trying to get me in trouble. That was from love. Like they're trying to tell me like, we can help you. Yeah. And I just thought like, I'd been raised like not to do that. I didn't want police at my mum's door. Didn't want to add any extra stress to what she already had. So I was like batting it off. I got to like 16. And I was like, bro, I'm 16. I'm a man now, man. I can't be a man and broke. Like I can't do this. I have no choice. I felt like I had no choice. I probably had some options, but like, that was the option that was available to me. Yeah, I made the most sense. So yeah, I'd say like 16 probably is where I started going a little bit wayward. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but when it's on top, isn't it? I mean,
exactly.
So, okay, let's talk about how that experience then informs Swerve, Skid, Ladbroke Grove. Like, how does that translate to music? Because you said music took you out of it, right? So talk me through that.
Cool. I've always loved music. My mum's a DJ. She used to
Jungle, right?
Yeah. She grew up in Cardiff, and she used to like go onto like rooftops and illegally transmit. I'm pretty sure she can't get arrested for that now. No. It's been a long time.
Pirate radio.
She used to pirate radio stations and that. And she just put me on to loads of music, man. She done music, house music, garage music, jungle, rap, like NWA. She's a massive fan, like everything, like, you know, house, blues, whatever. So she put me on to so much music, and that really built my music taste. But I would say that my dad was a rapper, so me wanting to rap probably came from my dad, to be honest, because even though my mom and dad broke up quite an early age, and like he wasn't always around, I kind of, as you do obviously as a man, you look for your male role model. My dad's a rapper. I thought it was cool. I used to see his friends like them writing their lyrics, and I used to see how much love they were getting for being good at rapping, and think, oh, I want to do that. I was pretty good at English in school. As I told you, I loved history. All my favorite topics were literature based, so it just kind of made sense for me to just, you know, give it a try. Started doing it. Everyone in school thought I was cold. So I just, you know what I'm saying? I say that they thought I was cold, but when I was like 15, I remember I was like leaving school and people were saying to me like, what are you gonna do like for like as a job? And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna rap. And I'll be honest, kids are cruel. You know, kids are cruel, bro. Yeah. They were laughing, oh, come on, bro, you're not gonna be a rapper. But like, I'm not saying that to like boost up my story now, but that's genuinely how it went. Yeah. Like some friends were like, yeah, bro, you got this. Like 100%, you could be a rapper. Let's get it. But some of them were laughing like, yeah, that's never gonna happen, bro. Like, good luck with that. Like, best of luck, mate. It is what it is, isn't it?
It's tough, man.
Yeah, like, it's tough, bro. It's tough.
It's almost like the kid who says, "Oh, I'm going to be a footballer," or "I'm going to do this," because it's so high to get to the level that you're at. It's a long way to go from that.
It's so tough, and the thing is, it's like a sieve. Imagine like a sieve. It's like when all the kids go through the sieve of what you want to be, it's like obviously some get stuck. You know what I'm saying? Some get stuck, and then there's just layers and layers of sieves. You have to go through like 50 of them to even get anywhere. Like being a footballer, obviously, because I'm a musician, I'm always going to see it like this, but I think being a footballer is probably harder to achieve at the highest level than being an artist. And the reason, obviously that could be wrong, bro. This is my opinion. But The reason why I say that is because a lot of my friends that are footballers, like, they didn't have the childhood that we had because they didn't get to grow up properly. They just was straight into like academy system and like, don't talk like this, don't talk like that. They can't like go and mess around with girls or anything. They just like straight watch your diet, don't do this, don't do that. And that's crazy for me, bro.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's an
yeah.
like
when I want a burger, I eat a burger, bro. Honestly, like
you got to live your life like
you
that.
have to live your life, man.
How does has London changed from that time when you were on the come up and you were starting?
Yeah.
Because particularly since I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to talk about the pandemic really, but like, you know, venue closures, and it feels like it's harder than ever to be particularly an independent artist, young artist, coming up artist, where there isn't necessarily the same places.
Young, but I'll take it.
But the spots aren't necessarily there in the same way.
Yeah.
How have you seen London change in that way?
I'm very privileged that my back catalogue and that my foundation of being an artist and a rapper is there, it's solidified. So I'm super grateful for that. That's not because of me, that's because of the fans. Big up the fans. Love them to death for that.
Always.
Yeah, man, they held me down. So I'm speaking from a position of privilege, which I acknowledge, but for new artists and even artists that haven't had as much success as me, it's super hard. It's harder for me, obviously, but I'm still in a privileged position. So I'm trying not to make it sound like it's so super hard for me. Like, obviously I'm privileged, but yeah, the venues, loads of venues are closed down. To get a festival booking nowadays, like, bro, to get a festival booking, you have to really be like one of the ones everyone really cares about, because there's not as the budget's not as big. There's not as much music, money in music right now. And obviously that's partly because of the pandemic. I know you don't want to talk about it, but it was crazy as a musician, especially an independent one, because I was seeing like, oh, if you're a certain type of, if you're in any of these fields, the government's going to support you throughout the pandemic. Where's my support? I don't get any support. But the crazy flip side of that is that a big percentage of tourism is music tourism. And I saw a piece, I can't remember what newspaper it was in, but my mum sent me the piece. She's always reading the newspaper, and it had like, it was like me, Stormzy, like I think like Dave, I think like H, just a couple of the man them, and it basically said that the shows that we had done in a certain year and the amount that we had contributed to music tourism is like actually really good for the government. Like, but the government, I don't get any pat in the back from like, he's gonna come and say, yo, you're doing well, you're helping the country.
I'd like to see Rishi Sunak be like, hey, mate, great job.
No, you know what I'm saying though? You know, like there should have been some sort of support though, or something that we could have reached out to. And obviously, again, I'm in a privileged position. I was fine during the lockdown. Didn't necessarily need the support in terms of, you know, monetary support, but in terms of keeping our career going and being able to, you know, make something happen. Granted, during the pandemic, we didn't know what was going to happen. We had no idea what the future was going to look like. I get that. But yeah, man, it was hard because we wasn't doing shows. Obviously, you couldn't do any shows, and shows are a lot of people's, you know, lifeblood, because at the end of the day, if you're signed to a 360 label deal, all your income is really and truly the labels. Like, you're not seeing anything during the pandemic. Everything you've dropped, you can't, imagine this, you can't drop any new music to generate new money. You can't do shows. So your income is all your income, because of the record deal, was going to the record label. What do? You better hope you had some money saved away.
Big time.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard.
Man, but it provokes all these kind of questions, right? About like, yeah, okay, so if someone says, do you need like the culture? Do you need music to survive? And someone will say, well, no, I don't. I need food, water, and like somewhere to rest my head. But actually, if you take the question further and you go, well, what type of life do you want to lead? Do you want to lead a life where, like Stormzy's headline set 2019 at Glasgow, right? That cultural moment, an unreal moment, yeah. Like I've just got goosebumps, like talking about
bro,
it.
Me and you both, trust.
Just now.
How did you memorize everyone's names, bro? You said everyone's names.
So
bro.
cool.
I was sitting there waiting, like, okay, big me up.
Yeah, come on.
Big me up, say my name. He's crazy, man. His live shows are amazing, honestly. I just saw him on Australia as well. Like, he was going crazy.
The spectacle, right? Like,
yeah, man.
It's incredible. And it's okay. So, do you want to live in a world where that doesn't exist?
Yeah. I mean, some people would say yes. To be honest, some people say they don't care. Some people, they might not say yes. Like, I want to live in a world where that doesn't exist, but some people might tell you, I don't really care if it. I think with music is a thing that if you're not super into music, you don't realize how important music is even to your life until it's gone. Because I remember having a bet with one of my mates, and he basically said, because he says he doesn't like music, yeah, whatever. He's a Birmingham fan, by the way. Yeah. Or he's one of the Birmingham fans.
Like
I know. He's one of the Birmingham fans that I know. But he basically said he doesn't really care about music.
Right.
So I said, okay, so do you think you could go 24 hours without listening to any music? And he said, yeah, easy. So I said, do you want to put a bet on it? And he said, this is like the easiest money ever, yeah? So I said, look, I'm not going to put the money down. I'm going to break down to you how you just lose this, yeah? You wake up in the morning, your alarm tone, you've already lost because that's music. You've lost, you know what I'm saying? If there are birds outside your house at 4 a.m. singing, you've lost because they're making music outside. Do you know what I'm saying, though? You go downstairs, you can't put the telly on. You cannot put the TV on. You can't answer your phone. Your phone has to be off, actually. I can't see a way. You can't get in your car. You can't. If you turn the car on, it goes like, do, it's done. Like, you've
the radio
lost.
starts,
yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing you can do. Even like, bro, music is as simple as like, when you're indicating left, the little... It's a rhythm, innit? Yeah, like it's a metronome. At the end of the day, music's everywhere and it's embedded in everything. And I just think it's unavoidable and it makes life better. Obviously, as a musician, I'm going to say that.
Of course you would, yeah.
But I was just going to touch on a point you said before, which is, do people think they need music to live, to survive? And actually, I've had so many DMs from loads of different people genuinely saying, oh, your music's kept me going in a dark time. And if you went and asked them that question, they'd tell you yes.
Yeah.
So everyone's different, you know what I'm saying? Everyone's different, man.
No, that's
Everyone's
absolutely
different.
right. That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mentioned Stormzy and Wiley in the intro, right? And that sort of like those diss tracks that it was a couple of years ago now, I think it was, right? But when that was going on, like I was I was so into it, like I was loving it. But simultaneously,
Glad you enjoyed it, bro.
Yeah. Look, all right, I'm listening to what you're saying now about how the aspects of that culture of like tearing each other down can be dangerous, difficult, maybe not the nicest thing in the world. We're seeing it now in America, right? Yeah. Drake, Kendrick. J. Cole actually apologised on stage a couple of weeks ago, which was interesting actually, because you don't really see that.
I like J. Cole. I don't know if that was the right thing to do, man.
Why?
Just feels a bit anti-rap.
Do you think?
Yeah, a little bit, man. A little bit. It's like I always liken things to other things to give people outside of music an idea of what I'm talking about. Even though you are well versed in music, this is for more other people listening. But if you're part of the mafia, just for example, you live by the code of the mafia. You're not going to go and tell police. You're going to go and get it done, mob style. Yeah, mob law, whatever you want to call it. You don't then go, okay, so I don't really like that hit I did last week. I'm going to go and tell the police. That's not really how it works. Like if you're a rapper, if someone disses you, you don't have to reply. No one's forcing you to reply. Even if you get those little fans on Instagram saying, you better reply to sons, you do not have to do that, brother. You can load up FIFA and smoke a spliff and do whatever you want to do. You don't have to do that. But if you choose to do that now, if you're going to go step on the battlefield, I beg you don't go the next day and say, sorry, that's crazy. For me personally, I just don't agree with that. You could have just sat it out. You could have easily just sat it out, said, hey, that's not for me. That's not really... Because what he was saying on stage, I understand what he was saying. Maybe it was a lapse in judgment. We're all human. It's not really my bag. It's not really my vibe. I feel bad about doing that. I get it. Makes sense. But come on, bro. Like, you've been a rapper for a long time. Yeah, he's a little bit older than me. He knows what he's doing. I don't know, bro. I think he saw like the possible bright lights of being a battle rapper, or not a battle rapper, but someone with a bit of bite to them. And then when he realized, he's like, I don't really like it over here.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work like that, bro. He stained his record a little bit with that.
If you send for someone, you don't really get to regret it, right?
No, like, you don't. I've done that before, though. I've sent for someone and regretted it, but I've not said sorry to them, bro. Forget that. Fuck you, bro.
What about when people have come for you then?
I just ignore it most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time, honestly. I mean, look, if Jay-Z sends for me, I'll send back because it's going to be great for my career. Like, why not? But
do you think there's a bit of that to it? Is it like...
Of course there are, bro. If a new MC... Look, it's both sided because it's like a new rapper will come about and say, hey, if I just make a diss track, look, I'm going to jump on a bandwagon and while everyone's dissing Stormzy, I'm going to also diss Stormzy. If Stormzy replies to you, you're famous now. You are rich now. You're rich because Stormzy replied to you. You are instantaneous. You are rich and famous now. That is why I don't reply. Why would someone who hates me, why would I make them rich? How does that make sense? You're going to talk about my mum on the track and you want me to pay you for that? Come on now, of course not, bro. Of course not. What would they prefer? A diss track and now their streams have gone up tenfold, or a punch in the face? It's only going to be one or the other, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's one of those, particularly coming from Birmingham, and you talk about I think about Skepta and Devilman.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Classic.
Everyone knew who Devilman was, where I was from.
No, here as well, bro. Devilman's cold.
Yeah. But he's the drum and bass file that everyone fucking knows, right? But the clash obviously impacts it, right? It connects to the two things. We're running out of time, so I want to talk about, you've kind of hinted at it earlier.
Someone in your ear said, "Oi, stop that."
Yeah, pretty much. So you mentioned being an independent artist, and you sort of looked into the darkness and were like, whoa.
Yeah.
We've just had the Brits. We've seen what Ray did, right? 1-5.
Legend.
After a battle with her label.
Madness. Mad.
Tell me about that. Tell me about that struggle. Tell me about your decision not to go for the label. Because I imagine there have been times where you'd thought that actually is kind of an easier path, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, they'll just whack a load of money in my account and just this autopilot. I'll make the rhythms and they just go and market them. That's great, but it's not what I signed up for. But I will say, even though I said I've peered into the darkness, what I'm saying is I've seen people in positions that I would never want to be in as an artist. I don't want to lose my artistic freedom, my creativity, any of that stuff. But there are some people, and I always say this to everyone because a lot of, younger artists ask me this question. They say, oh, you're that independent guy, you're the guy, you're the blueprint, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I say, that's all cool, but it's not for everyone, bro. Everyone's blueprint is different. Everyone's blueprint is completely different. I feel like it's like football, bro. You pick your formation. The same formation is not for everyone. Depends on what you're working with. And at the end of the day, for me, being independent made the most sense. I'm up for putting in that graft, and I'd like the rewards. Also, if a record label came to me and said the right thing, I'd probably sign the deal. But they just never do say the right thing. But if they did, then I probably would. You know what I'm saying? And for some artists, it makes sense. If you don't want to be a rapper for 10 years, you just want to have a super lit summer, make a couple of bangers, and kick out in your Porsche, you can do that. You sign your deal, get your Porsche, got your banger, kick out, done. That's it. I don't want that though. I want when my kids ask, you know, hey, what was AJ like? Oh, damn.
No, it's all right. Keep going. Keep going. Don't worry.
Yeah, when my kids hopefully ask, oh, what was AJ like? Listen, the reason you're in this nice house, the reason you have your life like this, the reason you're set up like this, the reason you blah, 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 is because he put in the work. You know what I'm saying? And my streams are going to pay my kids, hopefully. Not even hopefully, they will. So,
yeah, big time.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
So tell me more about that right thing, and also particularly who that mentor figure was for you, because you just said you're talking to younger artists, right? Who was doing that similar thing and giving that advice for you when you're on the come up?
Honestly, no one. I didn't have anyone like that, bro. Which is why my path was, in my personal opinion, a lot harder than some people's. Like I say to I have an artist that I signed, yeah, and he's proper cold, by the way. He raps like literally as good as me, in my personal opinion, honestly.
Who are you talking about?
His name's RM, yeah. He's cold. He's very cold. I didn't want to like spoil it, but his name's RM. He's very cold, yeah. But I always say to him, like, bro, like, you see this, I make him know. It's good to let them know, yeah? Like, you're around, he's around Big Z all the time because he's my cousin. He's around H all the time. He's in the studio, these people. You're around Unknown T, whoever. Like, bro, you're around these people and this position you're in. I was never at your age and at what you're trying to do. I wasn't in this situation. Like, you're in a really good spot. Like, make sure you capitalize on it. Like, you're in a great spot. Do you know what I'm saying? He's folding in Man City, bro. Like, you're with the big dogs. Like, do your thing. So it's got to be that. But I do think there's some artists that make the wrong decision, unfortunately. And it's sad because this is something that I would like everyone to know about. I hope everyone knows about this. But in music, what happens sometimes is some label execs, not all of them obviously, but some of them come and say, hey, there's this talented black kid. We're going to pick him up, do this, get all the money out of him and just kick him out. That happens all the time, honestly. And it's sad because if you think about it, if you're in a situation where, you know, you're in poverty, your mum's having issues, whatever, you need some bread, and the label says, look, I'll give you 15 grand right now, come and sign your life away. No brainer, of course. 15 grand, of course I'm signing that. And then as you get bigger and bigger and you see how talented you are and realize like maybe you could have done it on your own, maybe. Now it's too late now you're in a headlock. So it's like, and I know because of Ray now, I know a lot of labels are a bit more scared of doing that to artists, which is good, great, big up Ray, smashed it. But yeah, it does happen to some artists, and like if you get locked in that system, you know, we call it, they shelf you. Once you're shelved, it's whatever, innit?
Mate, that's a legacy. Do you know what I mean? Like showing that to people to be like you don't have to do that to yourself. Yeah. That's something to be proud of.
It is, but some people, as I do say, I always leave room to say that, you know, sometimes it is the right decision. Yeah. If you wasn't going to do it on your own, some people weren't going to do it on their own. Sometimes you need a little bit of help, or sometimes the label situation makes more sense for you. By all means, man, do it, 100%.
Just finally, you've obviously mentioned new album coming out.
Yes.
Give us a story. I mean, cool. Collaborations, who you working with, what's coming?
Cool. I don't want to ruin too much, but I've done sessions with everyone. It's been like almost 3 years in the making, but it's just done now. Just getting it mixed and master, putting the bells and whistles on it.
Yeah.
Or like me with the roast dinners, putting the seasonings on it. But yeah, I don't want to say like which artists are on it, but one that I'm super excited about that I don't think she'll mind me saying, I got Georgia on there. And it's just like, you're going to hear it yourself. You're going to hear it yourself.
You guys in the live lounge anyway. I love that one.
That's one of my favorite things ever. Like that live lounge, sick. But big up Georgia. Yeah, we got her on there. Got that done. That's way overdue. Couple other people that, again, I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
But the essence of this album, and it's so funny that you asked me these questions at the beginning, the essence of the album is being British. That's actually the essence of the album. So when you see the cover, when you hear what I'm talking about, and you hear the genres, grime, bit of garage, funky house, like it's very British. So I hope everyone enjoys that. Yeah,
love it, man.
Yeah.
AJ Tracey,
thanks for having me, bro.
Live and direct, man. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, bro. My guy.